I want to speak to you today about a powerful door that God is opening in your life. It's not an ordinary door, not something small or insignificant, but a divine doorway to a new level of favor, opportunity, and breakthrough. Maybe you've been praying for a long time, believing, trusting, and wondering, when is my time coming? Can I tell you? Your time is now. God doesn't bring you this far to leave you where you are. That delay you've been facing, it wasn't a denial. That closed door, it wasn't rejection. It was redirection. Because when God opens a door, no man, no circumstance, no opposition can shut it. But here's the key. You have to be ready to step through it. Too often, we let fear, doubt, or hesitation keep us standing on the threshold. We overthink it, talk ourselves out of it, or let the voices of others convince us that we're not qualified, not capable, not worthy. But friend, if God is opening it, that means you are ready. The question is, will you walk through it? It may not look like what you expected. The opportunity may come from a direction you weren't anticipating. It may require you to step outside your comfort zone. Don't miss what God is doing because you're waiting for it to look a certain way. When you walk in obedience, when you trust His leading, you will step into something greater than you imagine. That door leads to increase, to restoration, to new relationships, to a deeper sense of purpose. This is your moment. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let distractions keep you stuck. Don't let the opinions of others rob you of your blessing. The door's open. Now it's time to walk through it. There are moments in life when we come to a standstill, wondering what's next. We've worked hard, we've prayed, we've done all we know how to do, yet it seems like we're stuck, unable to move forward. We're in the bearing of tomorrow. Do we have ideas for tomorrow? The doors in front of us appear closed. Every opportunity we hoped for seems delayed, and every breakthrough we expected feels just out of reach. But here's what we need to remember. When it's time for God to move, no obstacle can stand in His way. When God decides to open a door, nothing and no one can keep it shut. It doesn't matter who is against you, how big the opposition seems, or how many times you've been told no. When God speaks a word over your life, when He ordains a season of favor, doors that were once locked will suddenly open wide. People who overlooked you will start to notice you. Opportunities that passed you by will come back around. That promotion, that breakthrough, that divine connection, it's already set in motion. Think about times in your life when things didn't seem to make sense, when doors seemed permanently shut. Maybe you didn't get that job you desperately wanted, or a relationship you thought would last forever came to an end. At the time, you may have felt disappointed, wondering why things didn't work out the way you planned. But later you realized that if those doors had opened, they would have led you down the wrong path. You would have settled for less than what God had in store for you. See, we serve a God who knows what's best. He sees what we cannot see. He knows the right doors to open and the wrong ones to close. Sometimes what feels like rejection is actually God's protection. That delay, it's not denial, it's preparation. Because when God opens a door, He makes sure you're ready to step into it. He doesn't open doors just for the sake of it. He opens doors that are aligned with His divine plan for your life. But here's the challenge. We don't always recognize when God is working. Too often we focus on the doors that remain closed rather than trusting that the right one is about to open. We get discouraged when we don't see progress, when things seem to be moving slower than we expected. But just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean God isn't working behind the scenes. Some of the most powerful doors are being opened in silence. In seasons where it seems like nothing is changing. Maybe right now, you're in a place where you feel overlooked. You see others stepping into their opportunities, getting their breakthroughs, and you're wondering when your time will come. Let me remind you, when it's your time, no one can stop what God has prepared for you. You won't have to force it, manipulate it, or fight for it. The right door will open at the right time, and it will be so undeniable that you'll know it was God. In the Bible, we see countless examples of God opening doors that no one thought possible. Think about Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and later imprisoned for something he didn't do. For years, it seemed like every door was closing in his life. But what Joseph didn't realize was that in every setback, God was setting him up for something greater. When the time was right, God opened a door that no man could shut. In one day, Joseph went from being a prisoner to being second in command over all of Egypt. The same God who did that for Joseph is the same God who is working in your life. He hasn't forgotten you. He hasn't abandoned you. Your season of waiting is not wasted time. It's preparation for the doors that are about to open. Now, when God opens a door, it won't always be in the way you expect. Sometimes it comes disguised as an unfamiliar opportunity. It may stretch you beyond what you're comfortable with. It may require you to take a step of faith to move forward even when you don't have all the details. That's why it's so important to stay connected to God, to be sensitive to His leading, because if you're not careful, you can miss what He's doing simply because it doesn't look the way you thought it would. Think about the Israelites when they were standing before the Red Sea. Behind them, Pharaoh's army was closing in, and in front of them, nothing but water. It looked like there was no way out. But at the last moment, God made a way where there was no way. He opened the sea, and His people walked through on dry ground. That's the kind of God we serve. He specializes in making a way when there is no way. He opens doors in ways you never saw coming. He takes what seems impossible and makes it possible. And so what does this mean for you? It means you don't have to live in fear or frustration. You don't have to stress over doors that won't open. If it's not opening, trust that it's not your door. And if it is your door, nothing can stop it. Your job is to stay faithful, keep praying, keep believing, keep preparing, because when that door opens, you need to be ready to step into it with confidence. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let doubt keep you from what God has prepared. When He moves, step forward in faith, knowing that the God who opens doors is leading you into something greater than you can imagine. There are moments in life when it feels like nothing is changing. You've been working hard, staying faithful, doing all the right things, yet it seems like the doors of opportunity remain closed. You pray, you wait, and you wonder, when is my time coming? You see others stepping into new seasons, receiving breakthroughs, advancing in their calling, and you may start to question, has God forgotten about me? But here's what you need to know. Your season of opportunity is closer than you think. What looks like a delay is not a denial. What feels like a season of waiting is actually a season of preparation. God has been working behind the scenes, aligning the right people, the right circumstances, and the right moments to bring you into a place of favor and blessing. It's easy to look at where you are now and feel discouraged. Maybe you face setbacks, disappointments, and obstacles that have made you question whether your time will ever come. But just because you don't see progress doesn't mean God isn't moving. Some of the greatest breakthroughs happen suddenly, in moments when we least expect them. One day, everything seems the same, but the next, the door swings wide open and everything changes. Think about how nature operates. A seed is planted in the ground, covered by dirt, and for a long time it looks like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, the seed is taking root, growing in strength, preparing for the moment it will break through the soil. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, it sprouts, and what was once hidden becomes visible. That's how God works in our lives. He allows us to go through seasons where it seems like nothing is happening, but in reality, we are being strengthened, developed, and prepared for what's ahead. If the door hasn't opened yet, it's because the right moment hasn't arrived. But when your time comes, You won't have to force it. The opportunity will find you. The right people will show up. The resources will be in place. You won't have to chase after it. It will come to you because it was ordained by God. It's important to stay in position, to keep your heart ready, because when the moment arrives, you need to be prepared to step into it. Too often, people miss their opportunities because they allow frustration to cause them to give up too soon. They stop believing, stop expecting, and when the door finally opens, they aren't ready. God has not brought you this far to leave you where you are. He has been molding you, shaping you, and getting you ready for what's next. Every challenge you face, every difficulty you've endured, every lesson you've learned has been preparing you for this moment. Think about David in the Bible. He was anointed to be king as a young boy, but he didn't step into his throne overnight. Instead, he spent years tending sheep, facing opposition and being overlooked. From the outside, it looked like nothing was happening, but in reality, God was preparing him. The battles he fought in the fields, the lions and bears he defeated, the leadership skills he developed while no one was watching, all of it was necessary for him to be ready when the moment came. And then one day, his season of opportunity arrived. He wasn't looking for a throne. He wasn't chasing a position. He was simply being faithful where he was. And then suddenly everything changed. He was called to face Goliath. And in one moment, his entire life shifted. That's what happens when God brings you into your season of opportunity. One moment, everything seems the same. And the next, the door swings wide open. The key is to remain faithful while you wait. Don't let discouragement take root. Don't let impatience make you step out of alignment. Keep trusting, keep preparing, keep believing, because your time is coming. When the opportunity arrives, you must have the courage to walk through it. Sometimes the door opens, but people hesitate because they don't feel ready. They allow fear to creep in, thinking, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I don't have what it takes? But if God has opened the door, it means He has already equipped you. He has already placed inside of you everything you need to step into that next level. Don't let fear keep you from what God has prepared. Don't allow doubt to rob you of the blessing that's waiting on the other side. When your moment arrives, step into it boldly, knowing that you are walking into something that has already been set in place by the hand of God. You don't have to force what God has ordained. You don't have to manipulate circumstances or beg people to open doors for you. When it's your time, the doors will open effortlessly. The opportunities will present themselves in a way that makes it clear that only God could have orchestrated it. There may have been times in your life when you felt overlooked, but when God's favor is on you, no one can stop the blessings He has for you. No opposition, no setback, no delay can cancel what God has spoken over your life. Your season of opportunity is not something you have to chase. It is something that is being divinely set in motion for you. Right now, even if you can't see it, God is working. He is positioning you. He is aligning everything in your favor. Don't let frustration cause you to give up too soon. Don't let fear make you miss what God is about to do. Stay faithful. Keep believing. Your season is coming, and when it arrives, it will be greater than anything you could have imagined. There are times in life when an opportunity presents itself, when a door that you've been praying for finally opens. You know deep down that this is something special, something that could take you to a new level, something that aligns with your purpose. But right in the middle of that excitement, fear and doubt start whispering in your mind. Are you really ready for this? What if you fail? What if you're not good enough? It happens to all of us. Right at the edge of something great, hesitation tries to creep in. Fear starts building walls where God has already created a clear path. Doubt tries to talk you out of what you know God is leading you into. It's not that the opportunity isn't real. It's not that the door isn't open. The problem is that the fear and doubt in your own mind are trying to convince you to stay where you are. This is one of the biggest challenges people face when stepping into new levels of blessings and breakthroughs. It's not always external obstacles that hold them back, it's the internal battle. They wrestle with thoughts of inadequacy. They think about all the ways it could go wrong, They allow past failures to shape their present decisions. Instead of boldly walking through the open door, they hesitate, they second guess, and sometimes they wait so long that the opportunity passes them by. But here's what you need to understand. When God opens a door, He has already given you everything you need to walk through it. He wouldn't place you in front of an opportunity if He hadn't already equipped you for it. You may not feel ready. You may not have all the answers. You may not see how it's all going to work out. But if God has brought you to this moment, you can trust that He will also bring you through it. Think about the story of Moses. God called him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. The door was open. The opportunity was right there. But what was Moses' first response? Fear. Doubt. He said, who am I to do this? What if they don't believe me? I'm not a good speaker. He came up with every reason why he wasn't qualified, why he couldn't step into what God was calling him to do. But here's the thing. God didn't ask Moses if he felt ready. God simply said, go and I will be with you. That's what you need to remember. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to feel 100% confident. You just need to trust that the one who opened the door is the same one who will walk with you through it. Many people allow fear and doubt to keep them from stepping into their destiny. They settle for less than what God has planned for them because they are too afraid to take that step of faith. They stay in jobs where they're unfulfilled because they're afraid to pursue what's really in their heart. They remain in situations that are holding them back because they doubt that anything better is possible. They pass up opportunities because they don't believe they are capable or worthy. But what if the very thing you've been praying for is already within reach? What if the door has already opened, but you haven't walked through it because fear has convinced you to stay where it's safe? The enemy loves to use fear and doubt to keep people stuck. He knows that if you ever truly stepped into what God has for you, you would be unstoppable. So he plants thoughts like, what if you fail? What if people judge you? What if it's too hard? He wants you to focus on all the things that could go wrong instead of trusting in the God who makes all things right. But here's the truth. Fear is a liar. Doubt is a deceiver. They will try to steal what God has already given you. They will try to keep you from receiving the blessings that are already prepared for you, but you don't have to listen. You don't have to let those voices have power over you. The Bible says God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. That means fear is not from God. Doubt is not from Him. Those are the enemy's tactics to keep you from stepping into your destiny. So what do you do when fear and doubt try to hold you back? You move forward anyway. You take the step even when you feel nervous. You walk through the open door even when you don't have all the details. You remind yourself that if God is leading you, He will also sustain you. You weren't created to live a life of hesitation. You weren't meant to stand at the door of opportunity afraid to go through. You were made to move forward in faith. You were designed to step into the blessings, the purpose, the calling that God has for you. It's time to stop letting fear rob you of what is rightfully yours. It's time to silence the doubts and step boldly into what God has prepared for you. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have everything figured out. You just need to trust that the God who brought you this far is not going to leave you now. The door is open. The opportunity is in front of you. Will you let fear and doubt hold you back? Or will you take a step of faith and walk into the life that God has been preparing for you all along? The choice is yours. But know this. When you move forward in faith, when you push past fear and doubt, when you trust that God has already equipped you, on the other side of that door is a life greater than you ever imagined. There are moments in life when an opportunity presents itself, one that could change everything. The door is open, the way is clear, and yet many people hesitate. They wait, overanalyze, and convince themselves that maybe now is not the right time. They make excuses, second-guess themselves, and sometimes without realizing it, let the opportunity slip right through their hands. Why does this happen? Because stepping into something new requires action. It requires movement. It requires a willingness to take a step forward, even when you don't have all the details figured out. It's easy to stand still and wait for the perfect moment, but the truth is, if you wait for everything to be just right, you may never move at all. One of the greatest challenges people face when stepping into a new opportunity is the tendency to hesitate. They think, what if I'm not ready? What if this isn't the right move? What if I step out and it doesn't work? But here's what you have to understand. An open door does nothing for you if you refuse to walk through it. Imagine standing in front of a door that leads to a place of blessing, abundance, and new beginning. The handle is right there, but instead of reaching for it, you just stand there thinking about what's on the other side. You analyze it, you pray about it, you talk to other people about it, but you never actually take the step to walk through it. Eventually, the opportunity fades, and you're left wondering, what if I had gone for it? What if I had taken that chance? Opportunities don't last forever. Doors don't stay open indefinitely. Sometimes the window of time you have to step into something new is shorter than you think. That's why it's so important to move when God says, move. If He has opened a door, He expects you to have the faith to walk through it. The Bible tells the story of Peter walking on water. When Jesus called him to step out of the boat, the opportunity was there, but Peter had to make a decision. Was he going to stay in the boat where it was comfortable, or was he going to take a step into the unknown? He chose to step out, and for a moment, he did the impossible. He walked on water. But what would have happened if Peter had hesitated too long? What if he had spent so much time thinking about it, analyzing the risk, that he never took the step? He would have missed out on a miracle. That's how it is in life. When God calls you to something new, when He presents an opportunity, you have to move. You can't afford to let fear, doubt, or overthinking hold you back. If you wait too long, the moment may pass. Some people miss their opportunities because they're waiting for all the details to make sense. They want the full picture, the 5-year plan, the guarantees. But faith doesn't work like that. Faith requires moving forward, even when you don't have all the answers. Faith means trusting that if God opened the door, He will provide everything you need along the way. Think about Abraham. God told him to leave his homeland and go to a place He would show him. Abraham didn't get a detailed map. He wasn't given a full explanation of how everything would unfold. God simply said, go, and Abraham obeyed. He stepped out in faith, and because he did, he walked into the greatest blessings of his life. What if he had refused to move? What if he had said, God, I need more information before I go. I need to know exactly where I'm headed, how long it will take, and what challenges I'll face. He would have missed out on the promise that was waiting for him. The same is true for you. The opportunities God brings into your life are not meant to be questioned endlessly. They are meant to be seized. When you sense that God is leading you into something new, when you know in your heart that He is opening a door, you have to step forward. Some people let past failures keep them from moving. They think, I've tried before and it didn't work out. What if I fail again? But just because something didn't work out in the past doesn't mean this opportunity isn't different. You have grown, you have learned, and this time, God is leading you into something better. Other people hesitate because they feel unqualified. They think, I don't have the right skills, the right connections, the right background. But if God has opened the door, He has already equipped you for what's on the other side. Your job is not to question whether you're ready. Your job is to step forward in faith, knowing that God will provide everything you need. And then there are those who hesitate because they are comfortable where they are. They know that stepping into something new means stepping into the unknown. It means taking risks. It means leaving behind what is familiar. But growth never happens in comfort zones. If you want to step into something greater, you have to be willing to leave behind what is safe. You don't want to look back years from now and wonder what could have been. You don't want to live with regret, knowing that you let an opportunity pass you by. When God opens a door, walk through it. Don't let fear, doubt, or hesitation hold you back. The blessing is on the other side of your obedience. The breakthrough is waiting for you to take the step. God has already paved the way. All you have to do is move. There are moments in life when we recognize that a door has been opened, that an opportunity has been placed before us, yet we struggle with how to approach it. We may feel unprepared, uncertain, or even overwhelmed by what lies ahead. But one of the greatest mistakes a person can make is to step into an opportunity carelessly without preparation or wisdom. When God opens a door, it's not just about walking through it, it's about being ready for what's on the other side. Far too often, people get excited about an opportunity and rush into it without taking the time to prepare. They don't stop to seek guidance. They don't make adjustments in their life, and they don't develop the discipline needed to sustain what they're stepping into. As a result, they may find themselves overwhelmed, unqualified, or even losing what they've been given because they weren't ready to handle it. Preparation is key. When an opportunity comes, it's not the time to start getting ready, it's the time to already be ready. That's why seasons of waiting are so important. If you are in a season where it feels like nothing is happening, don't waste that time. Use it to develop yourself. Use it to grow stronger, wiser, and more disciplined. Because when the door opens, you won't have time to start preparing. You will need to be ready to act. Think about an athlete training for a competition. They don't wait until the day of the race to start preparing. They train for months, even years, building their endurance, perfecting their skills, and strengthening their mindset. Then, when the moment comes, they are ready to perform at their best. If they hadn't put in the preparation beforehand, they wouldn't be able to step into the opportunity with confidence. The same is true in life. The opportunities that come your way will require preparation. If you step into something too soon, before you're ready, you may find yourself struggling to handle the responsibilities and challenges that come with it. Look at the story of Joseph in the Bible. As a young man, he had a dream of greatness. He saw a vision of himself in a position of leadership. But that dream didn't come to pass right away. Instead, Joseph went through years of preparation, years of being tested, developed, and strengthened. He was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. It looked like everything was going wrong, but in reality, God was preparing him. During those years, Joseph learned how to manage resources, how to lead people, how to interpret dreams, and how to navigate difficult situations. By the time he was placed in a position of power in Egypt, he was fully prepared for it. Had he stepped into that role too soon, he wouldn't have been able to handle it. But because he went through the preparation process, when the opportunity came, he was ready. This is why preparation is so important. Some people pray for an opportunity, but they don't prepare for it. They ask God for a promotion, but they don't develop the skills needed for the next level. They ask for a new relationship, but they don't take the time to grow emotionally and spiritually so they can handle it in a healthy way. They want success, but they don't cultivate the discipline required to sustain it. The truth is, God will never give you something that you are not prepared to handle. He will not place you in a position that your character is not ready to sustain. If you are waiting for an opportunity, ask yourself, am I truly prepared for it? Am I developing myself so that when the door opens, I can step into it with confidence? One of the ways to prepare is by staying faithful where you are. Sometimes people get so focused on the next season that they neglect their current one. They are so eager to move forward that they don't give their best effort in the place they are right now. But how you handle your current responsibilities determines whether you are ready for more. David was anointed to be king as a young man, but he didn't step into the throne immediately. Instead, he went back to tending sheep. He continued to be faithful in the small things. Even when no one was watching, he protected his flock, he honed his skills, and he developed his leadership. When the moment came for him to fight Goliath, he was ready, not because he had been preparing for a battle, but because he had been faithful in his daily responsibilities. The same applies to your life. You may be in a season where it feels like you're just going through the motions, doing ordinary things. But if you stay faithful, if you keep growing, if you continue to develop yourself, when the opportunity comes, you'll be ready for it. Another key aspect of preparation is wisdom. Some doors will look like an opportunity, but may not actually be from God. That's why it's important to seek His guidance before stepping into something new. Not every open door is meant for you. Some doors may lead to distractions, detours, or even destruction. That's why you have to be discerning. Before you step into something, take the time to pray. Ask God for confirmation. Seek wise counsel from trusted mentors, pastors, or friends who can help you see clearly. Don't rush into something just because it looks good on the surface. Sometimes what looks like an opportunity is actually a test to see if you will wait for the right one. Think about Jesus. Before He began His ministry, He spent time in the wilderness, fasting and praying. He was preparing for what was ahead. He didn't rush into His calling. He took time to seek God, to strengthen Himself spiritually, and to make sure He was fully ready. If Jesus, the Son of God, took time to prepare, how much more do we need to do the same? So what does preparation look like in your life? Maybe it means developing your skills, getting more education, or improving your discipline. Maybe it means healing from past wounds so you can step into a new season emotionally whole. Maybe it means deepening your relationship with God so that when challenges come, you are spiritually strong enough to handle them. Whatever it is, don't wait until the opportunity is in front of you to start preparing. Start now. Develop yourself now. Strengthen your character now, because when the door opens, you don't want to be caught unprepared. God has amazing things in store for you, but He is looking for people who are ready. He is looking for people who have been faithful in the small things, who have prepared in private, who have taken the time to grow. When the moment comes, you want to be able to step into it with confidence, knowing that you are fully prepared for what's ahead. So don't just wait for the opportunity. Prepare for it. Because when God opens the door, you want to be able to walk through it, not just with excitement, but with wisdom, strength, and the readiness to step into the next level of your destiny. There are moments in life when a door is opened, when an opportunity is placed before us, and we know deep in our hearts that this is something significant. It's not just another event or decision. It's a defining moment. But what many people don't realize is that once they step through that door, their journey is far from over. In fact, it's just beginning. Walking through an open door is not the end goal. It's the start of a new season, one that comes with responsibilities, challenges, and the need for endurance. Many people assume that once the opportunity comes, everything will fall into place effortlessly. They think that because God opened the door, there won't be any difficulties, opposition, or moments of doubt. But that's not how it works. Walking into a new season requires perseverance, focus, and the willingness to keep moving forward even when things get tough. One of the biggest misconceptions people have about stepping into new opportunities is that everything will be easy. They assume that because the door was divinely open, there won't be any struggles along the way. But throughout history, every great move of God has been met with challenges. Just because something is God ordained doesn't mean it will be free of obstacles. Look at the story of the Israelites leaving Egypt. God opened a door for them to walk into freedom, yet the journey to the promised land was not immediate or simple. They faced the Red Sea, they encountered hardships in the wilderness, and they had to trust God for provision every step of the way. The open door was only the beginning. The real challenge was in continuing to move forward despite the difficulties. This is where many people get stuck. They step into something new, but the moment they face opposition, they start questioning everything. They wonder, did I make the right decision? If this was truly from God, why is it so hard? Maybe I should just turn back. But turning back is never the answer. Growth and transformation happen when we push through, when we remain steadfast, even in the face of challenges. When you step into something new, resistance will come. People may doubt you, obstacles may arise, and things may not go as smoothly as you expected. But that doesn't mean the opportunity wasn't meant for you. It simply means you are being strengthened. Every challenge you face is preparing you for the greater things ahead. Think about David. When he stepped into his calling, it wasn't without struggle. Before he ever became king, he had to face Goliath. He had to endure years of running from Saul. He had to learn how to lead in difficult circumstances. The door to kingship had been opened, but it took perseverance for him to fully step into his destiny. That's why endurance is so important. It's easy to get excited when a new opportunity comes, but what really matters is whether you have the strength to sustain it. Success is not just about starting, it's about continuing. It's about pushing through the difficult moments and refusing to give up. This is where faith comes in. Walking through an open door requires trust in God, not just in the beginning, but every step of the way. It means believing that He will equip you for the challenges ahead, that He will provide the wisdom and strength you need, and that He will be with you even when the path is unclear. Some people step into a new opportunity but allow fear and doubt to hold them back from fully embracing it. They take a step forward, but they keep looking over their shoulder, wondering if they made the right choice. They hesitate, second-guess themselves, and end up moving so cautiously that they never fully step into what God has for them. But you can't walk boldly into a new season if you are still holding on to the past. When the door opens, walk through it with confidence. Trust that if God brought you to it, He will bring you through it. Refuse to let fear dictate your steps. Fear will tell you to play it safe, to stay where it's comfortable, to avoid taking risks. But faith requires boldness. It requires stepping into the unknown with the assurance that God is guiding your steps. Another key to sustaining what God is giving you is staying connected to Him. Some people step into an opportunity and become so focused on their new season that they neglect their spiritual foundation. They get busy, distracted, and start relying on their own strength instead of seeking God's wisdom. But success without God is never true success. The moment you stop depending on Him, you begin to drift. That's why prayer, worship, and time in His presence are essential. You can't walk through an open door and expect to thrive if you aren't staying connected to the one who opened it for you. Keep seeking Him. Keep prioritizing His guidance. The more you lean on Him, the stronger you will be. Another important factor is surrounding yourself with the right people. Some opportunities require a new level of relationships. There are some people who were part of your past season but cannot go with you into the next. If you want to sustain what God has given you, you need to be surrounded by people who will encourage you, challenge you, and push you to grow. Think about Moses. When he was leading the Israelites, he had Aaron and Hur to support him. When his arms grew tired, they lifted them up so that he could continue leading. In the same way, you need people in your life who will uplift you, who will remind you of your purpose when you feel discouraged, and who will keep you accountable to the calling God has placed on your life. Walking through an open door is a great blessing, but it also comes with responsibility. You have to steward the opportunity well. You have to be diligent, committed, and willing to keep moving forward even when things get tough. God doesn't just want you to step into something new. He wants you to thrive in it. So as you step through the doors God is opening, do it with perseverance. Expect challenges, but don't let them shake you. Trust that God is with you, that He has equipped you, and that He will sustain you. This is your moment. Don't shrink back. Don't hesitate. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that the one who opened the door will see you through to the other side. When God opens a door, it is not by accident, nor is it something to take lightly. It is a divine invitation to step into a new level of purpose, growth, and opportunity. But as we've seen, stepping through that door is just the beginning. It requires awareness, faith, preparation, courage, endurance, and a willingness to sustain what has been entrusted to us. Too often, people miss their moment because they're distracted, hesitant, or unprepared. They let fear talk them out of what God has already set before them. They allow doubt to convince them that they aren't ready or that they aren't worthy. But when God opens a door, He has already determined that you are capable of walking through it. He wouldn't bring you this far just to leave you. Now is the time to recognize the opportunities in front of you. It's time to step forward with confidence, knowing that every challenge, every delay, and every preparation season has been working together to equip you for this moment. Don't second guess yourself. Don't shrink back. Don't allow the past to hold you captive when the future is calling your name. Walk through the open door with boldness. Trust that if God has placed it before you, He has already provided everything you need. Even if you don't see the full picture, even if there are uncertainties ahead, trust the one who opened the way. The journey won't always be easy, but you are not walking alone. He is guiding you, strengthening you, and leading you into greater things. This is your time. This is your moment. Don't miss it.